There is a specific kind of tiredness that sleep cannot fix. You know the one. It is not physical exhaustion, though your body feels heavy. It is a deep, spiritual fatigue. It comes from the endless, frantic effort of trying to be you. From the moment you wake up, you are at war. You're at war with your alarm clock. You're at war with the traffic. You're at war with your bank accounts. But mostly, you are at war with yourself. You are constantly monitoring your own thoughts, judging your own feelings, trying to wrestle your life into a shape that feels safe. You are holding your breath, waiting for a future moment where you can finally exhale and say, "Okay, I made it. I'm safe now." But that moment never comes, does it? We live in a culture that worships effort. We are told that if we just push harder, grind longer, and worry more, we will achieve peace. But Alan Watts, the philosopher who translated the mysteries of the East for the modern West, suggested something radical. He suggested that this very effort, this desperate clutching for security, is not the solution to your anxiety. It is the cause of it. He called it the backwards law, the principle that the more you pursue feeling good, the worse you feel. The more you desperately try to be loved, the lonelier you become. The more you try to control your life, the more chaotic it feels. So here is the dangerous question. What happens if you stop? Not if you give up on life, but if you give up the fight against life. What happens when you finally let go of the edge of the pool and sink? Today, we're going to explore the terrifying, liberating truth of what happens when you finally give up. To understand why giving up is the key to power, we have to look at how your mind actually works. Watts used to compare the mind to a pool of muddy water. Imagine you're looking into a pool, but the water is filled with mud and silt. You can't see the bottom. You can't see the clarity. Your instinct is to fix it. You want to push the mud down, to smooth the water out with your hands. But what happens? The more you splash, the more you disturb the mud. The harder you try to force clarity, the cloudier the water becomes. This is your mind on anxiety. You feel anxious, and immediately your brain says, "I must stop feeling this." So you worry about your worry. You stress about your stress. You have created a feedback loop where the effort to cure the problem actually feeds the problem. Watts argued that this is the fundamental error of modern man. We are trying to use the mind to fix the mind. It's like trying to bite your own teeth. It's like trying to look at your own eyes without a mirror. You are caught in a trap of your own making. The backwards law suggests that the only way to clear the muddy water is to leave it alone, to give up the interference, to let the mud settle on its own time. But this is terrifying for us because we are addicted to the illusion of control. We think that if we stop worrying, the plane will crash. We think that our anxiety is the fuel that keeps our life running. But ask yourself, has your worry ever actually changed the outcome of a future event? Or has it just ruined the present one? Why do we do this? Why do we drive ourselves mad with effort? Watts traced it back to our obsession with security. In his book, The Wisdom of Insecurity, he made a point that is even more relevant today than it was in 1951. He said we are obsessed with saving life rather than living it. Think about how you breathe. You breathe in and you breathe out. It is a flow. Now imagine you said, "I love this breath so much. I want to keep it. I want to secure it." So you hold your breath. You hold it tight in your lungs to save it. What happens? You turn purple. You pass out. You lose the very thing you were trying to keep. To have breath, you must let it go. You must give it up. The same is true for life. We try to capture happiness and put it in a box, a savings account, a marriage certificate, a social status. We try to freeze the moment so it never changes. But life is change. Life is fluidity. By trying to freeze it, we kill it. Watts often pointed out the difference between a symbol and reality. Money is a symbol of wealth, but it isn't wealth. You can't eat dollar bills. You can't live inside a credit card. Yet we spend our lives chasing the symbol, the money, the status, the title, and we starve for the reality. We are like people in a restaurant eating the menu instead of the food. When you give up, you are not giving up on abundance. You are giving up the hunger for the symbol of security. You are realizing that you cannot hold on to the wind. You can only feel it against your face if you let it blow past you. This brings us to a concept from Taoism that Watts loved to teach, Wu Wei. It is often translated as non-action, but that is a bad translation. It doesn't mean laziness. It means effortless action. It means acting in accordance with the grain of nature rather than against it. Think of a cat falling from a tree. Does the cat calculate the physics? Does it tense up and worry about the landing? No, it relaxes. It turns instinctively. It lands on its feet. The cat does not try to be a cat, it just is. Now, look at a human. We are the only creatures who are constantly trying to be something else. We are trying to be better. We are trying to be spiritual. We are trying to be successful. Watts used the analogy of a bow and arrow. If you are an archer and you are trying to desperately hit the bullseye because you want the prize or because you want to impress the crowd, your muscles will tense. Your aim will shake. The desire for the result ruins the process. But if you can shoot without trying, if you can let the arrow leave the string because it is time for it to leave, you hit the mark. Giving up in this sense means giving up the separation between you and the action. It means you stop being the thinker, watching the doer. When a great jazz musician is improvising, they aren't thinking, what note should I play next to impress the audience? If they think that, they stumble. They give up control and let the music play them. They become a vessel. This is what athletes call the zone. The zone is simply the place you go when you give up the ego.
But why is this so hard for us? Why is letting go the hardest thing in the world? Watts argued it is because of a fundamental hallucination we all suffer from. The hallucination that you are a skin-encapsulated ego. You feel like you are a little man or woman sitting inside your head, located somewhere behind your eyes and between your ears. You feel like a pilot inside a robot body. You look out at the world and you say, that is the world out there, and I am me in here. You see yourself as a stranger in the universe. You feel like you have come into this world. But Watts reminded us, you didn't come into this world, you came out of it. You are a symptom of the universe. You are as much a part of nature as an apple is part of the apple tree. The earth is peopling, just as the tree is appling. When you believe you are separate, you feel small. You feel fragile. You feel like the universe is a giant hostile machine that is trying to crush you. So naturally, you fight. You resist. You try to control everything because you feel like an alien in enemy territory. But what happens when you give up that story? What happens when you realize that the energy that spins the galaxies is the same energy that is beating your heart right now? You aren't the pilot. You are the plane. You are the sky. You are the wind. When you truly give up the ego, the idea that you are a separate, lonely self, you don't disappear. You expand. You realize that you cannot die because you were never really born as a separate thing. You are just the universe experiencing itself for a little while. And the universe doesn't make mistakes. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds nice, but I have bills to pay. I have problems. If I give up, won't I just fall apart? This is the ultimate fear, the fear of the void, the fear that if we don't hold ourselves together with constant tension, we will dissolve into nothingness. Watts had a beautiful answer to this. He said that reality is like falling through the air. Imagine you are falling from a plane. There's no parachute. The ground is miles below. The person who is terrified is tense. They are flailing their arms. They are trying to grab onto clouds to stop the fall. They're screaming. They're miserable. The person who has given up realizes a crucial fact. There is nothing to hold on to. And there is no ground. It is a bottomless fall into infinite space. If there's no ground to hit, then falling isn't dangerous. Falling is just floating. The anxiety you feel is the sensation of trying to hold on to things, people, memories, expectations that are already falling with you. Everything is transient. Everything is passing away. Your youth, your relationships, your life. It's all slipping through your fingers like water. When you try to clench your fist to hold the water, you lose it. But when you cup your hands and let the water rest there, you can hold it. Giving up means accepting the transiency. It means accepting that you are falling. And in that acceptance, the terror turns into exhilaration. You aren't falling anymore, you are flying. So what is the practical takeaway here? How do you apply this giving up to your Tuesday morning when you are late for work? It means you stop the second layer of suffering. You stop fighting your own experience. If you are sad, be sad. Don't try to be happy. If you are anxious, be anxious. Don't try to be calm. Paradoxically, by fully accepting the feeling, by giving up the resistance to it, it changes. The mud settles. You realize that you don't need to fix yourself because you aren't broken. You are a process. You are a cloud moving across the sky. Clouds don't have a correct shape. They just change. When you finally give up the project of fixing yourself, when you give up the endless search for security, a strange thing happens. You become lighter. You become playful. You start to see life not as a terrible problem to be solved, but as a game to be played. And that is the great secret. The world is not a trap. It is a dance. And you can only dance if you are loose. So take a breath. Unclench your jaw. Drop your shoulders. Stop trying. Stop fighting. Give up. And watch how the universe rushes in to catch you.